Okay, it's finally here and it's actually $50 cheaper than last year's 3A. Good news is, you're not really sacrificing much here from the fantastic 3A. In fact, you're actually getting a bit more here with this year's Pixel. Faster processor, more RAM, slightly bigger battery, this is all good stuff. So, how is Google able to offer more while charging less? Well, as Marquez put it, by keeping it simple. This year, you get one color, one size, just one option, and honestly, I think Google nailed the Pixel this year. So, when you think of the Pixel lineup, where does your mind go? Cameras, right? So, let's start there. And there was really no doubt in my mind that Google wouldn't absolutely crush the camera quality. Their software is just phenomenal. Pixel 4a has just one camera on either side. You got an 8 megapixel up front and a 12 megapixel rear shooter on the back. But again, combine that with the fantastic software and you get one of the best cameras for photography on any phone in 2020. Sure, you're not getting a wide angle lens or a telephoto lens like on iPhone or even my S20, but your images are gonna look significantly better on the $350 Pixel 4a. It's pretty mind-blowing. My daily is the S20, and now anytime that I actually wanna take a photo, I reach for the Pixel 4a. I guess the takeaway here is that if your priorities are camera first, swoop to 4a. It does not disappoint, but I'm sure most of you already knew that. So I was a really big fan of the 3A and Pixel 4's design. They had a really smooth, clean aesthetic to them. And you take those two, smash them together, sprinkle a little bit of no bezel, right? They decide to ditch the forehead and chin. And that minor change really makes a great looking device. Slight weight, plastic build, but trust me, Pixel 4a, it still manages to feel satisfyingly solid in the hands thanks to this like matte texture. It's real pleasing to the touch. Now the fingerprint reader on the back, it wasn't here on the 4, I don't believe, and it's in the best spot. Rear mounted, it feels so natural. It's so much better than the in-fingerprint reader on my S20. There's about a 1 second delay, nothing too crazy. On the bottom is your Type-C charging port and your dual stereo speakers, which legit surprised the hell out of me. I was not expecting such good sound from a $350 device. They're not quite as loud as the speakers on my S20, but they sound much more full. There's more warmth to the vocals and a bit more bass. They've got a really tight sound. Really impressed with them, and I think they deserve more praise. I don't hear too many people speak highly of the speakers. Now, you've essentially got the same beautiful display from the 3A. It's a 5.8 inch 1080p OLED panel, and the colors are fantastic. OLED screens have the ability to turn off individual pixels completely, so you get those deep, inky blacks. Amazing for content consumption. Outdoor visibility is great here too. The Pixel is capable of reaching 681 nits. It appears to be slightly brighter than my S20, which is really odd because Samsung claims that that panel is, rated for over 1,000 nits. Anyway, it's plenty bright and the colors seem a bit more saturated on the 4A than the S20, which is odd again because Sammy is usually known for their oversaturated colors. I'm actually not the biggest fan of heavily saturated displays, and if you aren't either, then you can go ahead and fix this by going into the display colors and changing it to natural, which just looks much more nicer in my opinion. Greatly impressed with the display, although there is one thing that took some time getting used to, and I didn't really expect to see it in a $350 budget phone, but I miss my 120 Hertz display. With only 60 Hertz, things just don't seem as fluid. I really just couldn't get used to going back to a 60 Hertz panel, but if you've never used 120 Hertz before, or you're one of the very few people who say they can't tell a difference, then this shouldn't even really concern you Overall, it's a great looking display. Easy 8 out of 10. All right, so I guess one thing that worries me here is the longevity performance-wise, right? The Snapdragon 730G and 6 gigabytes of RAM do a good job for now, but I'm worried that that's not gonna be the case, 2 years on down the line. But this is just me being a worrywart. Of course, we're gonna have to wait and see. Now, if you're into mobile gaming, then obviously, there's much better options. But if you're on a budget, the G in the Snapdragon 730G stands for gaming, and it handles everything I threw at it with ease. No, you won't be getting, 60 FPS in Fortnite, but it handles all current games, even if some do run at 30 FPS. Multitasking users will be plenty happy with the 6 gigabytes of RAM. In my testing, it's more than enough, especially considering that, there's no bloat to bog down this phone. And that is a perfect segue to lead us into software. You've got pure Android, no bloatware, just simple, clean, stock Android, and it's glorious. The 4A is running Android 10 out of the box, and with that, it brings an array of new features. Things like live captions, smart reply, you've got a sound amplifier, improved privacy controls, and more importantly, at least to me, is gestures and dark mode. We also have new ways of customizing out the device, like some built-in live wallpapers, which look incredible. Battery life has been great. The 3140 milliamp hour battery easily gets me through an entire day, no problems whatsoever. Of course, this varies, depending on use case, right? I usually check my emails, post a bit on social media, maybe do some browsing on there as well, occasionally snap a few photos. Majority of my time is spent on YouTube, about 3-4 hours, very rarely playing games in between, and I do keep my brightness about 50% for the majority of the day. I'm not very mindful about closing out apps either. So take that as you will. I'd say the Pixel 4a has great battery life. I really like the 4a. It feels great. Camera quality, top notch. The design gives off a premium look. While the performance isn't the best, it's more than capable for everyday use. I do miss some things that were on the beefier for, like Active Edge, where you can squeeze the side of your Pixel. It'll launch like Google Assist. You can silent calls and things like that. But all in all, I'd say Google's really fine-tuning their budget lineup, and I really like what they're doing with the Pixel 4a. Well, I'm Yeti Machete. If you made it this far, smash like, drop a subscribe, and did you know that Google was almost sold for $1 million back in 1999, but the offer was turned down? The founders really lucked out there, huh? Anyways, I'm out. Catch you guys in the next one.